we are going to be multiplying these two matrices together. And anytime we're multiplying any matrix by another matrix, we need to first determine if we can multiply the two. The way that we will determine that is to classify each matrix. And when we classify a matrix, we go the rows by columns. And so on this particular matrix here, this first one, we have 2 different rows here and 3 different columns. So we would classify this one as a 2 by 3 matrix. There we go, 2 by 3 matrix. And this one over here, we have 3 different rows and only 1 column. So this one would be a 3 by 1 matrix. Now, when we're looking to see, number one, if we can do this matrix multiplication, what we want to focus on here are the middle terms, okay? And the technical rule on this says that the number of columns in the first matrix has to be the same as the number of rows in the second matrix. But basically, as long as you're classifying each one of them correctly, what you can do is just look at these 2 middle numbers. If these 2 middle numbers are the same, then we can indeed multiply these two. So now that we know that we can multiply them, we want to see what our ending matrix is going to look like. And in order to do that, what we're going to do is focus on these outer 2 numbers here. So the outer 2 numbers are a 2 and a 1. And the technical rule on that one is our answer is going to be the product of these 2 matrices are going to be the number of rows in the first matrix by the number of columns in the second matrix. But if you just kind of focus on these 2 outside numbers here, that's really all we're looking for. So basically this one is going to be a 2 by 1 matrix. That's going to be our answer on this one. Alright, so I'm going to take all of this information here, just kind of move it out of the way just so that we have room, but I haven't changed anything there. Still a 2 by 1 matrix. I did color code these here, and we'll see why in just a moment. I'm just going to kind of go through each one of them. Now I've got a 2 by 1 matrix. A 2 by 1 matrix means that I have 2 rows and 1 column. This is going to be my answer, so we're going to basically walk through each one of these. Alright, the way that we multiply matrices is we take the row, this entire row, we'll start with this first row here, and multiply it by this entire column, straight up and down here. Each one of these columns, and there's only 1 column, so that makes it kind of nice for us. And there's only 2 rows, that's kind of nice, but there's 3 components in each, which makes it a little bit more complicated. We'll take each one of them one at a time, though. I've got -5, and I'm going to multiply this one by this -5 here. So you see that -5 times -5. This 2 here is my middle one. I'm going to multiply this 2 by -4 here. And finally, I've got this -3. I'm going to multiply that by this -5 here. So basically, I'm taking this whole row right here and multiplying it by this whole column. Each one of these, see how this one's in the middle? I'm going to multiply it essentially by this middle one here. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the bottom portion as well, just to kind of see where we're going with it. So we've got a 4. I'm going to multiply that by this top portion here, 4 times -5. So 4 times -5 plus 0 times -4 plus 0 times -5. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to go through and kind of simplify all this out. I've got -5. I'm just going to simplify this top row here. -5 times -5 is going to be 25. 2 times -4 is going to be -8. And -3 times -5 gives us 15, positive 15. So now we just want to simplify this. I've got 25 minus 8 plus 15. So 25 minus 8 would put me at 17, plus 15 would yield me 32 would be my simplified one. So that's going to go right up top here because all of this was found up top. Now let's work on simplifying this bottom row here. So I've got 4 times -5. 4 times -5 would yield me -20. 0 times -4 would be 0. And then 0 times -5 would be 0 as well. So now I've got -20 plus 0, which could give me -20. So this is my answer on this one after I've simplified everything. And you notice that this is a 2 by 1 matrix, and then 32 is what the top simplified to, and -20 is what the bottom one would be. But essentially what we're doing is we're multiplying each one of these rows, the entire row, by this entire column right here. That's why these 2 middle numbers have to be the same. And as long as they're the same, then we're good. And remember that your answer will be whatever these 2 outer numbers are. The number of rows in your first column by the number of rows in your first matrix by the number of columns in your second matrix.